Charlie, I mean, you have played for into 2 decades now, so you got a lot of ball. You're one of the few players that can say that. Actually, we don't see that often anymore. Have you ever thought of kind of like the whole journey through it? Like, does it really feel like it's been this long that you've been in the bigs?
Yes and no. I think it was painfully slow at first because I was struggling to find my identity and be comfortable on the field and in the clubhouse. And then I think once I started to feel like I'd actually established myself, things started
Mm-hmm.
to kind of normalize, and it was more of like, okay, like I got a job to do. I'm gonna go to the field, like I'm gonna do my work. And um I feel like the correlation between um being squared away, putting the time and effort in, um, that kind of made time change
Yeah.
because I started to actually see results that correlated with the work I put in. And not to say I wasn't working before, but I was more lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually started to be pretty good. And it was almost like I allowed myself, there were moments where I allowed myself like freedom to like relax because it was like, man, like you work hard enough, you care enough. And then it's kind of like you go home and it's like, oh wow, like this is what it feels like to actually like kick my feet up. And I'm talking like 6 7 years into the big leagues at this point. Like I'm not saying um I was dreading it or I was uh anxious or worried all the time, but I just wasn't settled. And
Mm-hmm.
then it took once I got to probably 6 7 8 years in the big leagues when I actually could see what I could do with the baseball and like I could see um who I could be and what I could become. Then it was like, whoa, man, that's when I think I started to feel at peace. That was
Yeah.
when I felt that's when I started to feel like I not like I was close to the light at the end of the tunnel, but I could see it way off in the distance. Like it was like a real thing.
Yeah. One thing I try to tell people that aren't as familiar with the day to day with baseball or trying to establish yourself at the big league level, you hope to be able to figure it out and have the staying power, right? That's number one.
Mhm.
But there's a reason why also guys that struggle or jump around from places, it takes time to really find who they are. And I mean, you're right. I mean, I can pinpoint to you. You had a couple, solid years leading up, but really in 2017 going to Houston, right? Until going into this year, it's like you found it, like you were talking about. You found your identity, but that took time. I mean, you debuted in 2008, right? That's almost
Mhm.
a decade's worth of time to be able to kind of, not establish yourself because you had the stuff to be here. But that's the part I think people underestimate. Like I tell people with prospects, the expectation for some of the young guys that can be critical. There is that the growing pains. Like, does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah, I think what it is, honestly, and I've experienced this in maybe like micro levels where you'll
Mhm.
go on a 3 or 4 start stretch and it's just something that's not right. Um, like for me this year, April, it was like terrible. Like I was standing on the mound and I didn't feel like myself at all. And I think that's probably the way I felt for the beginning of my career, the first couple years of my major league career, probably for a good while in the minor leagues. Um, and two, it's like I never got the chance to feel what it was like to be the dude or a dude,
Yeah.
like where they give you the ball and it's like we want you out there, like we want you to run out there, take the mound for this playoff game, start game one, right? Like we're giving you the ball, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like most guys never feel that. They don't know what it feels like to go to the park and feel like the team is not only counting on you, but they're expecting you to go do something special, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how are you supposed to feel like that to feel like the guy or a guy when only a small percentage of players in their careers ever get to experience that? And it's just a grind because you
Right.
want validation. You want to feel like you're um, part of the group and part of the plans for an organization. You want to feel like you have some staying power, and a team wants to sign you to a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 year deal. Like you want to feel
Right.
like that, but most guys never do, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's a grind. It's because you're continually having to ask questions of yourself that are never really truly answered by anybody else except for yourself, and that's why the grind and the grit wins out. That's why some of these guys put together 10-year careers, half of which are, in swing roles or they're coming off the bench. Um, in the first few years of that, they're getting called up and sent down, and they're learning how to be grinders and they're learning how to survive. And they look back, Josh Harrison just announced his retirement the other day. I mean,
Yeah.
that dude did it. He put together a career that, sneaky. You look up and you're like, this dude's got 11, 12 years in the big leagues.
Yeah.
So I got to see that in my own career. I got to see aspects of that. I got to see from different angles. The first, when I was in Pittsburgh, it was like first year I was there, I think I finished with something like a 4 something. Second year I was there, I was probably one of the worst pitchers, if not the worst starting pitcher in baseball. I go out there in 2011, no options. I got a jacked up hip, and they're like, "Here's the ball. Like, let's see," because I don't know what they were thinking. And I went out there and had the best year of my career, and um, I wound up having hip surgery after the year. Go out there next year, TJ. Next year, coming back from TJ at 2013, had a good year. 14 put together an okay season. Hip surgery again, and then it's like grinding through 15, kind of stunk. 16, another surgery, missed 98% of the season. And then, like you mentioned, finally get to Houston, and it just kind of like I stayed healthy, delivery clicked. I think the pitch mix completely different, like a very different identity. And then from there, I've been pretty much a different pitcher. So but I got to see it. I got to experience it.
You did. You were able to battle through it because, like I said, you got to have staying power enough. And if you're able to stay around long enough and you have your moments, they're going to give you opportunities. And you had the talent. Then it was, can you, when you could get the opportunity to put it together or to get in rhythm, you did. And you talked about guys that are trying to find it to start off. I laugh because a guy right now, like I told Ryan O'Hearn this, I'm like, hey, dude, like you were trying to figure it out in Kansas City and it didn't work out. You come to Baltimore, you start in the minors, and then you find a role. And then now look at him. He's one of the best left-handed bats in the league right now. Cedric Mullins was my teammate in 2019 in Double-A. Said he was a starting right or center fielder that year and got demoted. It's guys trying to put it together and see where they can go. And Charlie, you know what I love? That's why I appreciate talking to you. People aren't as, I guess, with players being so open about the process, and I applaud that. I still think one of the pressers you did after the game, I forget which start, I think you know what I'm talking about. You were very open about how it felt. And I got to say, when you're saying it, your stuff feels good. And I watched it. I'm looking at him like, dude, your stuff looks good. I would hate to face it, but the keyword grinding it out. And maybe this kind of sums up this whole situation from a personal standpoint as a pitcher to then this team. Whether you like it or not, the team has its struggles. Whether you like it or not, you got off to a start that you wish you didn't, but you really have one option, and that's where you got to show up each and every day and try to work on it, right? That's kind of the MO of the game, and it seems like you and the team understand that that's kind of what goes into outlasting a 162.
Yeah, I think I guess for me coming into this year, I I walked off the mound I walked off the mound for my last start with the Braves last year, 2024, and I was just like, man, this is not how I wanted to end it. But who does get to end it how they want, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but I think I've said this to some members of the media this year. Like as a baseball player, you can't be entirely rational all the time, right? You can't. And there's a huge element of emotion and thought that goes into this. So coming in this year, it's like, man, I'm out to put together a good season I can be proud of. Like one I can walk away from, and to have the start that I had, like I was in all honesty, like it's like I thought about just walking away because it's like at some point all you're doing is hurting the team, right? So, but I have that luxury, right? That would be for me. I don't know how I would look at myself in the mirror if I made that decision. You know, just because it's like it is quitting, but at the same time, it's like it's not. It's like I would be trying to do the best thing for the team. Um, but selfishly, that's not how I want to go out. Like I
Mhm.
don't want to go out with my last start. I gave up 7 runs, and I'm getting booed off the field, and like that's worse than the one last year that when I walked off the. It's like selfishly, like, and I don't know. It's like you want to prove it to yourself, right? You want to prove to yourself that you're not that you're better than that, but like I don't know. But a lot of these guys, like they don't have that luxury, and
Mhm.
it's like you have an opportunity to do something for yourself, for your teammates, for your family, your friends. Like you have a chance to show the world who you are, right? And to me, that's where, and I said this to the guys, like the grind is where it's found. The grind is what shows is what you find it, but it feeds you. Like it's everything. When I was in 2019, when I was here in Tampa, and I was shoving, and I'm going out there every game. I'm going 5, 6, 7, 8 innings, just shoving, punching tickets, right? And yeah, that was wonderful. Like that was great. That felt nice.
Oh yeah.
I'm at home. I'm at home with my family, you know. But there's also I wasn't getting better, you know. It was just it was a moment in time. It was a window where it's like, wow, man, I'm a pretty good pitcher, and then I got the opportunity to pitch in some big games in Tampa in the postseason, and then I went to Atlanta, and like the first month in Atlanta, back to the grind, wasn't good. I remember getting booed one of my first few starts in Atlanta, getting booed off the field, and I was like, man, you know what? And then it's like I don't know. You call it fate or whatever, call it destiny or whatever, but it's like I I got chances to get better. And this year was no different. Like I can learn, I can grow. Um, we can learn, we can grow from the challenges. And if the outcome isn't necessarily what we want, where we want to get to, um, there's still a group of guys in there that are tremendously talented, and um, they're working. They're getting after it. Like I'm really impressed by the young group in here. Because I keep hearing like, yeah, like younger people, younger players, it's like they're not squared away, they don't have their heads on right, or it's just all about the show. And it's like, man, that's not what I see from our guys. Like I'm
Mhm.
really proud of how these guys have gone about their business this year. So um either way, I'm really proud, to be in that clubhouse with those guys and watch them go out and go through the grind. And I know that the expectations are and were high, and um and it's been a tough couple months, but man, I tell you, like these guys are really good.
Yeah, I mean, this is I love when you describe it. Also, the grind. You had a quote in there now. It's going to resonate in my mind for a long time because it's a great way to describe it when you're talking about when you're in it, when you are in it. You have a choice. And I really appreciate you being so honest, Charlie, because I know as a former player as well, sometimes certain guys aren't going to maybe explain it more, but also that's the realness. You're real with the feelings. You're real with the intention. The reality is, like, hey, the team for you, yeah, it was a hole that was dug into for whatever the reasons may be. But guess what? You still got 91 games to go as we record this. You're going to go back to work. And I'm with you. I spent a lot of time with those guys in there and know them and gotten to know them. And I know where their work ethic is. And also, I haven't had a chance to get to know you, but you don't stay around this game for as long as you have if you're not willing to put in the time and continue to grow. And I'll leave you with this. Since you're down in Tampa, I hope you get some more of those moments you start shoving again. Just keep doing your thing, and I wish nothing but the best for you, Charlie. Just stay healthy, be good, and hope to see you around the yard soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Ryan.